It's 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning, and that's when we have fun each and every week. It is our town here on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. My name is Darren Swenson, and it's brought to you each and every week by the good folks at Decorah Bank and Trust. A little later on in the program, we are going to be talking about the Lansing Bridge project, which will be happening here in the not-too-distant future. You might see some initial work here very soon. Notice I said initial work on the new Lansing Bridge. Pete Hjelmstad with the Iowa DOT District 2 office in Mason City will join us, talk about the history of the bridge, the need for the new structure, and how everything is going to work with that process. There's going to be a equipment swap taking place to benefit the Decorah Parks and Recreation Department, and a good way for you to maybe clean out your garage and get rid of some stuff, and good way if you're wanting to get some slightly used stuff and maybe get some fishing poles, some kayaks, canoes, etc., bicycles. It's going to be taking place this weekend. It's going to be at Pulpit Rock both Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk to Blake Moen from the Decorah Parks and Recreation Department about it. And our first guest this morning, it's going to be a fun weekend in Fort Atkinson. In fact, part of the weekend starting today with some educational initiatives, but it's Rendezvous Days. Rendezvous Days will be the weekend in Fort Atkinson, and we'll have Jay Schwamman here to tell us all about it, and he will be our first guest. He bats leadoff on the lineup card, which is Our Town, brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust, and you're listening to it on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. Coming up this weekend in Fort Atkinson is the 47th annual Fort Atkinson Rendezvous Days, and Jay Schwamman is here to tell us about this event. And I know, Jay, many of the events are coming up on Saturday and Sunday, but you have your educational portion of the Rendezvous Day taking place today, and to me, that's one of the neat things about this event is the connection that this event makes to area schools. Tell us what will be going on today as this airs.
Oh, absolutely. Good morning, Darren, and everybody listening. School day today, we've got 800 pre-registered kids. The most that we've ever had was 1,200, so it takes a lot to orchestrate this. I appreciate the volunteers that sent out all the information to the schools and got this all lined up. The schools that responded and that are coming, it's absolutely educational. So the kids will come in and they'll be greeted by some guests. Everything will be explained to them, what's expected of them for the day, and then, all the safety and where the restrooms are and all that house cleaning. And then they will go through different stations. So there will be one station that somebody will show them how they prepared food in the 1840s to 1848. The next station may show them where their home is and how they lived in the lodge or the teepee or the wall tent, how things were set up, how they heated it, how they bathed, how they groomed themselves, how they got haircuts and everything. Another one may be showing them how they made jewelry or any of their trade items that they did in those days to survive. So there's just a little bit of everything. There'll be a blacksmith there that'll show them how they worked with iron and metals. There'll be a guy that will show them how they made rope back in the day. So it's just a great event. Just love having the kids. That's, education goes so far these days.
And you mentioned 800 kids. How many school districts are involved in this education day taking place today?
Oh, Darren, that's a great question. I'm not sure. We sent out letters, all the way around our district, our area. The problem is, transportation, if they're, a lot of them are an hour away. So by the time they ride a bus up here for an hour and have to ride back, and there's a lot of other things going on too, the homecomings and stuff too. So they want to, not all of them can make it, but the schools, the administration and the teachers do such a great job that they orchestrate it that a lot of times they'll come with like a high school class and an elementary class so that they've got the high school kids to help watch them little ones and help educate them and make sure they're following along and learning some of the history too.
Pretty cool stuff going on today, but the event itself will get underway on Saturday. Event taking place from 9:30 until 4:30 that afternoon. Why don't you just run down some of the schedule taking place on Saturday?
Oh, on Saturday, we'll open with a cannon drill at 9:30 a.m. They'll have open shooting for the registered campers. They'll do target shooting down in the quarry. At 9:45, there's a flint and steel contest that shows how they started fires and stuff. And then in those days, with just flint and steel. Tomahawk throwing contest, primitive bow. Throughout the day, everything is going on. Cannon drill again will be at 12 o'clock. And then Gary and Annie will be playing music over on the south side by their tent, some old time music, and they do a wonderful job between the music and singing together. There's 1840 kids games will be at 1:15, so you'll see how the kids played games back in those days. It's pretty simple, Darren. You know, they took just a ball and pushed it with a stick, or they had quick contest to see who could peel an ear of corn the fastest. Then at 2 o'clock they have the cannon drill again, a bullwhip contest at 3 o'clock. They have a food cooking contest. They'll judge that at 3:30. Neat event. I've gotten to be a judge for that in the past. So they give you a recipe of how the food was prepared and how they prepared it and what kind of cookware, and then you get to they bring samples of the food and we get to taste it, so you get to see if it's authentic and how it was. So pretty neat event there. They get pretty creative. One year they made popcorn in bacon grease, and that sounds pretty simple, but man, it was good. They all do a great job with that. And then at 4:15 they'll have the evening colors with the cannon drill and retiring the flag, and then the fort closes at 4:30. Throughout the day there is transportation. There's buses that will haul you from town. There's designated bus stops, but if you see the bus, just wave them down. These guys are great too. They'll get you on the bus, and they'll give you a ride right up on top of the hill and drop you off right at the front gate.
And you talk about some of those food contests. I'd imagine you don't have a lot of trouble getting volunteers to judge that one, right?
We don't.
And Sunday, some similar events and some different events when the events take place from 9:30 or 9 a.m. until 3:30 on Sunday. Why don't you run down the Sunday schedule?
Yeah, about the same events. The ones that they're going to add is on at 10:30 a.m. There will be a kids tomahawk throw, which is pretty neat. They take a card from a plain deck of cards and put it on the block of wood, and whoever can hit it gets so many points. And then they have, the cannon drills throughout the day. They have a skillet throw that they take a frying pan, and they have a dummy hanging from a tripod, and they get so many points for hitting the dummy. This is a women throw it. It's like simulating they're throwing it maybe at a significant other or a spouse. And so that adds a lot of entertainment throughout the day too.
And those events are going to be taking place on Saturday and Sunday. And I know your website said there are some campsites available if people want to camp this weekend. Are they still available?
I believe that it is not full. I believe there is some sites available. It's a busy time of life, and there's a lot of people who just can't decide until that day. But usually, I think we have 200 sites, and I think that will be pretty full this year. So,
anything we're missing, Jay? Anything else you want to pass on about Rendezvous Days?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the event that puts our town on the map. So, the guys that started this is the 47th annual year of this. So, pretty cool history to be continued. In cooperation with the DNR and the Friends of Fort Atkinson. On other events that we'll have is on Saturday morning is a 5K run walk. They have a kids fun run, and that'll start at 8 o'clock, and that's free to kids 10 and under. And then at 8:30 we will have the 5K run walk. There is a registration. There's a pre-registration, but you know what? We're going to let everybody in. So entry fee is $25. If we have shirts available left, you'll still get a T-shirt. But usually this is a good event and they sell out. But this is what helps pay some of our expenses for advertising, for the restrooms, for the insurance for this event. I'd like to also mention that the church is going to have a breakfast on Sunday down at the community center. there's always events going on. There's a garage sales and different things going on through town too. We like to have everybody stop and support the businesses that support our event also.
And that's just one of the cool things about small town festivals in our neck of the woods. Everyone really seems to come together and kind of showcase the community in a situation like this, because an event like this doesn't last for 47 years without that community spirit.
Yeah, and we're always looking for somebody to help. There's a lot of people behind the scenes. Last Saturday, there's a group of about 20 guys go up there and set up all the park benches, the split rail fence, all the trash cans. There's one guy goes around, picks up garbage throughout the weekend. There's a lot of things behind the scene that people don't see, and these volunteers are really appreciated.
And obviously a lot of information available on the city website, also on Facebook, for those of you looking to get the schedule for this weekend. Jay, I'll let you give one final chance to welcome folks or invite folks to Fort Atkinson this weekend.
Hey, everybody, we appreciate you coming. Come around. If you have any questions, make sure you ask the participants. They'll answer any questions for you throughout the weekend also. We appreciate everybody coming.
All right, Jay, thanks for taking the time. Best of luck with everything in Fort Atkinson this weekend.
Thanks, Darren. We'll see you later.
Jay Schwamman from Fort Atkinson Rendezvous Days, Saturday and Sunday. Find all the information on the Facebook page and at the Fort Atkinson City website. Always good to catch up with Blake Moen. He is with the Decorah Parks and Recreation Department, and at least to start the interview, I'll let you see Blake Moen here as we put it in the right frame via Zoom right now. A lot of things going on always at the Decorah Parks and Recreation Department, and a fun event coming up this weekend regarding a gear exchange. Blake, tell us all about it.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Thanks for having us. No, Gear Exchange, this is our second year running this event. Last year, this was an idea that got floated to the Parks and Rec Department here by some folks up at the Chamber of Commerce, as well as Visit Decorah, of a way for community members to look to sell and otherwise buy gently used outdoor recreation equipment. So this is our second year that the Gear Exchange is off and running. This year we are hosting it it is being held at Pulpit Rock Brewery in the front event room space. The way it works, folks, is that for community members that have like I said, gently used outdoor recreation equipment that they are maybe looking to get rid of or sell, that they maybe are collecting dust in their garage or whatever it may be. Items could include anything from backpacks to fishing gear to bicycles to car racks or camping equipment or whatever it may be. Anything that is maybe of some value to you that you would like to sell and make some sort of profit for can be brought to the Gear Exchange. The way it works is once you bring your item to Pulpit Rock Brewery in the front event room, you set the price for what you would like the item to be listed at. If your item sells, 60% of it goes to you as the seller, 20% of it goes to Decorah Parks and Rec, and 20% of it goes to the sustainability of this event to continue on for future years. So it's kind of a fun event for you to maybe get rid of some things, but also for people that are looking to maybe upgrade some of their own equipment to come on down and look for what's being sold for and purchase. And we're looking forward to having it.
Seemingly a pretty simple idea. How'd this event go over last year?
It went over really well. Last year, we held it at Wayside Park, which is the park in town that's right next to the dike that is like our ice skating rink and basketball courts during the non-winter months. Went over really well. And again, it was kind of one of those programs that idea floated to our department. Kind of threw some things together and worked really hard to put it on, and got to give a huge credit to, again, our friends up at the Chamber as well as Visit Decorah. They've been working really, really hard with Andy Nimrod, our park rec director, as well as our other team members to put this on for a second year. And if it wasn't so popular last year, I don't think we'd be even looking at a second one. So looking forward to it.
And this will be held Saturday and Sunday. Do you bring your gear in on Saturday the morning before the event? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So the event itself is on the 23rd and 24th. You can drop off your equipment. I want to make sure I get my dates and times right here, Darren. Thursday, September 21st from 4 to 7, as well as Friday, September 22nd from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's when items can be dropped off at the Pulpit Rock event room, that front event room where the program will be held. The actual exchange, so the actual purchasing and whatnot that will take place, is set for Saturday, September 23rd from 9 a.m. to 4. And then from Sunday, September 24th, from 12 p.m. to 2 is when the purchasing and such can be. One other note I'll add too is we are looking for volunteers that would like to help out with the event. Not only helping out with the event, but may be able to offer some insight to sellers that are looking for some insight on what the pricing of their said item can be. I, for myself, have much equipment at my house that I'm not sure what it would be worth, but we're going to have some volunteers there that would be able to help you figure out what that price point would be. So for people that are interested in volunteering in that role, there is a link on our website and the Visit Decorah website as well, in order to sign up to be a volunteer for the program and also help offer those suggestions.
And it seems like just such a simple idea, because I think we all have stuff that we haven't used in quite some time, and putting it on the internet or Facebook Marketplace or everything like that creates sometimes a little bit of a hassle. And you guys are seemingly taking the hassle out of it for us. And the programs that you provide will benefit because of it. Seems like a win-win-win-win-win, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, I think so too, Darren. And, one of the things too is the time of year, I think, is key too, because we're towards obviously out of summer, we're into the fall season now. There is still a lot of outdoor recreation opportunities, of course, with the nice weather that we're having. But, a lot of people maybe are putting their canoes away for the year. A lot of people are looking to maybe put away fishing equipment, or maybe they use some of it this year and realized, as we had the winter months, I would like to maybe sell it back to someone who may have better use for it or would use it more. So I think the time of year is another thing to it, Darren, that hopefully will turn out even better for us, because, we're just at the end of the summer and people are looking to get rid of stuff and purchase stuff for the future as well.
Yeah, a couple of things related to the Parks and Recreation Department. Just looking at your Facebook page here, the ice cave steps now complete. Based on the photos, they're looking pretty good there.
Huge credit to Ted and John. I just want to give them a huge shout out and thank you to them. This was a project that started years ago. Definitely a project that was ongoing, was not put together in a month. I mean, this has been kind of going on, Darren, certainly since I've been on board full-time with the Park and Rec Department. And Ted and John did a phenomenal job. And I think the Facebook social media that we've done speaks for itself. If you look at the amount of likes and comments, and people really, really love what it looks like. And we know that it was definitely an upgrade needed, but without those guys, the project doesn't get done. So we really appreciate them. And it really adds to one of the trademark parks that we have here for Decorah Parks and Rec, I think. Not only Ice Cave itself, but now you have just a wonderfully beautiful entrance as people from out of town, community members can go in and enjoy. So again, thank you, Ted and John, for all your work. We really appreciate that. It looks incredible.
And let's tie in this weekend's event with a future event. Let's say you go to the Gear Exchange this weekend, pick up some fishing event. Hey, I'm interested in fishing. Let's try this stuff out. I want to go fishing for some walleye. And here in a few weeks, got an opportunity to teach some people about walleye fishing, correct?
You got it, Darren. No, and I'm really excited about this one too. It's actually a newer program that we've been offered since I've been on board. Logan Hahn, who is one of our park assistants here for full-time Decorah Parks and Rec, avid fisherman, wonderful knowledge, and an awesome guy, and is going to be teaching the program itself. It is set for October 22nd from 8 a.m. to noon. And what it is, Darren, is it's supposed to be kind of geared for folks that, whether you've done a lot of walleye fishing, or maybe you've never fished for walleye in general, maybe you've just put a worm on a hook and you cast it out and hope to catch anything that's on. This program is specific to walleye, but it's supposed to be aimed for Logan, who's going to be giving a lot of education pieces to our students that will be signing up, as well as hopefully the water levels will increase and we'll be able to actually go on the stream itself, because half of the program that day will also be going out on the river and utilizing some of the techniques that you'll learn in the early part of the class out on the river to hopefully catch some walleyes and such. So I think one of the things, Darren, when you think about walleye fishing, you think about the lakes in Minnesota, and you think about maybe some of the other traditional places up north in Canada and whatnot, but People, believe it or not, we've got a lot of amazing streams in our own backyard here in Northeast Iowa that huge walleye are there, and just walleye in general that are fun to catch. So hopefully we get some people that are enthusiastic to sign up, and we're looking forward to that one as well, being led by Logan.
And they don't call me the Sultan of Segway for nothing. What else you got up your sleeve besides big muscles at the Park and Rec department?
I don't know about that, Darren, but no, we're really excited. We're off and running with flag football and volleyball right now. We've got 2 after-school programs going on as well, so we're off and running with those, as well as our fall ball program with Luther College baseball. All of those are going wonderfully, and we really appreciate everyone who's helped us make those, whether it's a parent volunteer or Luther baseball or part-time staff. I think things are going well. One of the things that we're looking forward to as well, Darren, here in a few weeks on October 7th is going to be our Touch a Truck program. That'll be coming up the pipeline here before too long. So parents and community members will be looking for information on our social media and website as well, because Touch a Truck seems to be a great program that we put on with the Decorah Fire Department. So we're looking forward to that as well. And just kind of going through the month of October with programming. Then our next brochure will be coming out in November as well. So be on the lookout. Halloween is around the corner as well. I think there's some ideas of the pipeline coming down for us with Campground Trunk or Treat, which is a program that Park and Rec did last year as well, and some other ones. So be on the lookout on our website and social media pages, parents, for any upcoming pop-up events as well.
All right, Blake, always appreciate you taking the time to tell us everything what's going on at the Decorah Parks and Recreation Department. Never a dull moment in that office. Thanks for taking the time, Blake, and I'm sure we'll be chatting in the not-too-distant future.
You bet, Darren. No, thank you. Really appreciate it. We're looking forward to the rest of the fall.
Blake Moen from the Decorah Parks and Recreation Department. Gear exchange this weekend at Pulpit, Saturday and Sunday. The not too distant future, there will be a new bridge between Lansing and DeSoto over the Mississippi River, and here to talk about that soon to be happening project is Pete Hjelmstad. He is with the Iowa DOT District 2 office in Mason City, and since it's becoming a topic of conversation, we just wanted to get some facts and some updates on where the project is at right now. Pete, give us the overall history of the Blackhawk Bridge. When was the current structure built, and what type of maintenance has been necessary on that bridge, say, over the last 20, 25 years?
All right, we'll kind of briefly touch on it. And first of all, thanks for having us on. It's a good opportunity to get information out to the public, because we know how big a project this is and how important that crossing is to everybody in that area. The bridge opened in 1931, and when it did, it was privately owned by the Iowa-Wisconsin Bridge Company, and it actually opened as a toll bridge. In 1945, it closed because of an ice jam that damaged one of the slough bridges. The bridge company couldn't afford to fix it, so it ended up closing the bridge. In 1956, Iowa and Wisconsin, the states of Iowa and Wisconsin, took over ownership, and then they opened that bridge up without a toll, and it's been operating under the ownership of Iowa and Wisconsin ever since. As far as maintenance, the bridge over the last 20, 25 years, as you mentioned, has been washed yearly. That's one of those things where you want to get anything off it that could cause any deterioration. At least 3 times in about the last 20 years, it's been painted. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, most of the paintings are just touching up areas that need it for protection. It's about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm sure people remember, though, there was a total sandblasting and repainting of the bridge. We've had to replace and or repair deck panels, and that usually results in closing the bridge to do that. And then the approach pavement on the Iowa side has been settling. So our maintenance crews have been out there and making repairs, filling it to keep the bump, we'll call it, on the Iowa side of the bridge as small as possible. So that's just kind of a brief overview of both the history and some of the maintenance and repairs that have been done on the bridge over the last 20, 25 years.
Why is a new bridge necessary at this time? How does the DOT determine a new bridge is necessary as compared to perhaps a restructuring of the current bridge?
Sure, great question. easy bottom line answer is it has lived its useful life. In 2019, we did do a study to see if the bridge could be rehabbed. And that study showed that the costs of rehabbing the bridge and the extra life that rehab would give it is not cost effective compared to building a new bridge. So that's why the decision was made to move forward with designing and building a new bridge.
And where is the DOT at in that process? What are the next steps at this time in that process? And how long until we see some major work being done on a new structure?
Again, I'm going to give you the brief answer because this is very, very comprehensive as far as how long this has been going on. But we started with public input on this in 2017. Actually, like I said, studies have been going on since probably the early 2000s, looking at the bridge, just seeing what needed to be done. And again, this is joint Iowa-Wisconsin venture. So we've had the public input started in 2017. We have had several meetings taking public input and using that input when it comes to designing the new bridge. The design is complete. We had a special letting on August 1st, and there were 5 bidders. Kramer North America out of Plain, Wisconsin was the low bid at $124,300,933. Now, the good news is we had $140 million programmed for construction, so the bid did come in a little under program amount. As far as what you're going to see next, and this schedule is very fluid. We literally just had the meeting with Kramer last week, and they were making changes to their schedule. So this is just a very, very not a guess, but we'll see what the project as far as the construction will go with. They were planning to start some tree clearing on the Wisconsin side next month in October. So that will be the first thing you'll probably see. There will be, again, this is what their tentative schedule is. You will see some construction going on for the pier on the Iowa side in December. And major construction will continue throughout the winter. They will be working on that bridge and hopefully have the bridge completed in 2025. Then work will start on the roadway, mainly on the Iowa side. There will be some work on the Wisconsin side as well, but mainly on the Iowa side. And what the main construction on the Iowa side will be doing on the roadway is making that turn wider. As you know, if you've ever made that turn, it's very sharp. It's very difficult for large trucks to make. So we are going to be making that a lot easier for them to navigate. During that time, the road will remain open. The current bridge will remain open. There will be traffic in one direction only, so they'll be probably guided through there with temporary traffic lights. Then when we are getting close to being able to open everything, the bridge will probably be closed, and the goal is to only have the bridge closed for 2 or 3 weeks. During that time, the contractor will be making the roadway connections on both the Iowa and Wisconsin side to the new bridge. And then by the late fall of 2026, we hope to have everything open.
And a very well thought out comprehensive timeline given there, Pete. As for the funding for this project, where's that funding coming from?
The funding for the project is coming from both federal and state funds. This bridge is split in cost between Iowa and Wisconsin. 80% of the money both states are using is from federal funds, and then Iowa and Wisconsin will cover the rest with state funding.
And obviously, the Blackhawk Bridge, almost a 100-year structure. It's a revered structure. It's an iconic structure, and there's a lot of emotional attachment to that bridge from many people. Was there any way of keeping that structure for, if nothing else, but historic preservation purposes?
Sure. The bridge was offered to anybody who wanted it. Now, it couldn't remain there because those of you who are aware of the barge traffic and everything, that is considered between the two piers, the navigation channel there, one of the hardest turns on the entire Mississippi River. So the bridge had to be removed, and we offered it up to anybody who wanted to take it. We had a couple people inquire about it. I don't think it ever got real serious, and that was mainly because of the cost of moving it. Plus, there's the liability, there's the maintenance that was needed, and that would be very, very expensive. Now, we are going to be saving, the contractor will be saving, we call it the portal on the Iowa side, the more or less the main entrance into the bridge. And the city of Lansing will be taking ownership of that and keeping that for historic purposes.
And I know with some of the information you've put out to the public already, you've explained this, but I'll give you the opportunity to do it to our audience. How will the new structure be different than the current structure? I know you've touched on the turn going into the bridge on the Iowa side. That's going to be a wider one. But as for the structure itself, what's going to be different?
The biggest difference you're going to see, well, first of all, the appearance of the bridge is going to be very, very, very similar. You will have a hard time actually seeing that it looks different. And that was part of the public input meetings we took, is people obviously, as you mentioned, love the bridge. It's such an iconic structure. We're building this new bridge to look almost identical to it. The biggest difference people are going to notice is the size of the bridge. Right now, the roadway width on that bridge is 21 feet wide, two 10-foot lanes. Right now, when the new bridge, is going to be complete, the width will be 40 feet compared to 21 feet. So you'll have two 12-foot driving lanes and then 8-foot shoulders on either side. It'll be a little taller. It'll be 180 feet compared to 165 feet. And the other thing that you'll see is, as you know, driving over the bridge now, you take the steep incline and then level out, and then the steep incline to get off the bridge. The new bridge will be a continuous gradual curve, and it'll be much easier. It'll be much smoother. And then again, the deck, instead of the steel panels, the deck will be concrete.
And when building a structure like this, as compared to when it was built originally, obviously you got the barge traffic underneath. In the winter, the potential of ice dams are there, which closed the bridge way back in the 40s for a 9-year period. When you're putting together and engineering a bridge like this, is there any way you can make sure that the chances of damage from barges or ice dams or anything in the river itself can be minimized to prevent some closures of the bridge, which I know have happened a couple of times in the last 20, 25 years?
Sure. So are you talking about the new bridge?
Yes.
Yeah. The new bridge, as you're probably aware of too, there are the two protection cells out in the river right now that are called dolphins that are put there to protect the current bridge from barge hits. Those will be removed because that's approximately where the new bridge is going. The new bridge will be built about 50 feet north of the current bridge. The new bridge, the piers are going to be built to withstand the potential of barge hits. So those dolphins will not be needed. The piers will be constructed to withstand the barge hits. And as far as ice jams, when it did close previously, those ice jams did damage to the slough bridges, not the main Lansing bridge, the main bridge over the river. So we are building everything to withstand that. Now, obviously, Mother Nature sometimes has her own ideas, but we have done everything we can to, again, build the piers to withstand what Mother Nature can give us and any barge hit as well.
And as this process goes on, what's the best ways people can receive the most up-to-date information regarding this bridge project?
Yeah, we've got a couple opportunities there. We do have a Facebook page that went online a couple of weeks ago. You can find it by searching Mississippi River Bridge at Lansing. Also just facebook.com/Lansing Bridge. And we also have a website that is dedicated to the project, and that is at iowadot.gov/Lansing Bridge. A lot of the history that I went over, it goes into a lot a lot deeper, a lot deeper dive into some of the history of the bridge. There was, in the early goings, there was possible financial issues as far as the private company that owned it. And it's really interesting. It's a very, very interesting, not just structure in itself, but the history of that bridge itself is really, really interested to read through.
Anything we're missing, Pete? Anything else you want to pass on to the public as long as you got the forum this morning?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the big thing is just to remember that this really shouldn't affect traffic driving over the Mississippi River at Lansing, or obviously coming from Wisconsin, because we will be building the new bridge just north of the current one. And we have worked really hard through designing this bridge and designing the roadway to really minimize the time that the crossing will be closed. And again, that shouldn't be any issues as far as closing the bridge until 2026. And that is for a 2 to 3 week period is what we have planned right now. Now, again, projects like this, you start digging, you start moving, things can change. But right now, that is the goal, and we really hope to achieve that goal.
All right, Pete, we appreciate you taking some time to give us some history about the bridge and the project itself. I'm sure this probably won't be our last conversation about this bridge as the project gets going here in earnest next year and into the year after. Thanks for taking the time, and good luck with the project as it gets underway. We'll start seeing some work here in a month or two.
That's right. And I really appreciate, again, the opportunity to get the information out, Darren, and let me know anytime you need anything. We'll be happy to do what we can.
Pete Hjelmstad with the Iowa DOT talking about the Lansing Bridge Project. Thank you to our guest on the program, Jay Schwamman from Fort Atkinson. Rendezvous Day is coming up this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. We want to thank also Blake Moen from the Decorah Parks and Recreation Department. Let's see, it's the equipment swap coming up this weekend at Pulpit Rock, both Saturday and Sunday. And very interesting interview we had the chance to do with Pete Hjelmstad. He is with the Iowa DOT District 2 office in Mason City, and he is one of the guys that will be involved with the new Lansing Bridge project, the Mississippi River Bridge from Lansing to DeSoto, which will be up and running, the new one, by 2026. And that will be, we'll keep up to date on that project as time goes by, but very interesting conversation about where the process is at and where the history of that bridge and everything like that. And just an interesting conversation that you might want to share with people. Speaking of sharing with this show with people, we put it on YouTube each and every week. We realize you're busy. Sometimes you can't be near a radio or a streaming device at 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning, but this is the type of information and the interesting people we get to talk to. We want to bring these shows to you on your schedule. You can just look up 921 Our Town program, and that is the way to look it up on YouTube. We also put the links up on all of our LA Communications Facebook pages. Another way we try to keep as in touch with the community as we possibly can here at LA Communications. A thank you to our sponsor, Decorah Bank and Trust. A thank you to our guest, and most importantly, we thank you for tuning in, for logging on, or for watching Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.